What's going on, everyone? Eagles win 28-23. We did our halftime show, Shane and I. It was a comfy, cozy defense looking spectacular. Zach Vaughn playing his ass off. And sure enough, the Eagles got to do Eagles things. Nick Sirianni, we're going to get into all of it. Joining us, he is Shane at Shane Half NFL on X. What's up, Shane?
I mean, the Eagles won. I am livid right now. This just feels like another normal Eagles postgame show, for being honest.
It's rough. Also joining us, he is Rob Lange at Philly_Madness on X. What's up, man?
I don't know. I'm a little different today, guys. And I know that I'm normally Mr. Negative Dibes, but to me, this game turned on the most egregious call I've seen in the NFL in a really, really, really long time. And I'm gonna choose. It's an absolute choice to hone in on that because, you know, I said from the get-go this was going to be a struggle this week. I did not expect a rout. And I almost think it hurt this team to go up as big as they did early because I feel like they thought, oh, my God, this team sucks. We're going to rout. And, you know, I think it might have hurt them. I think they took the foot off the gas. And yes, this was not a good Nick Sirianni day. This was not a good Nick Sirianni day.
We're live, right?
No, you didn't hit go live.
Wow, that's crazy.
That's hilarious.
So it's just the three of us just talk to each other. Awesome.
But I'm gonna hit the go live button, and then
I just realized it didn't go.
Yeah, hold on. I'm gonna hit go live. Here we go. Going live.
I don't know what the heck just happened.
Apparently we were live, guys. Apparently we were live.
We're live. We're like AJ Brown. We went to the locker room at the half, but we're coming back. We're going to break down in-depth analysis on everything good and bad and the horrific from Nick Sirianni in this 28-23 win. Joining us, he is Shane Half at Shane Half NFL. What's up, man?
This is going to sound really bad on the podcasting platforms, but can you guys watching live in the comments just confirm that you're seeing us right now? Because StreamYard was saying we weren't live. We restarted the stream. Then people were telling us that we were live the whole time. Yeah. And so I have no idea what's happening right now. But I'll just repeat the same intro from last time that the Eagles won, and I am livid about it. And this just feels like every other Eagles post-game show. So here we go. This is awesome. Let's go.
Now it shows on StreamYard that we are, in fact, live. That was really weird.
Yeah.
Also joining us, Rob Lange at Philly_Madness. One more time.
Yeah, and I'm going to say that surprisingly, Mr. Negative over here is actually trying to look at this in a positive light. And I believe that the game turned on one of the most egregious calls in NFL history. That was just ass. There's no explanation for that call. You know, it was not a good Nick Sirianni day. There's no doubt about that. But I also believe the first 2-point conversion was an absolute. He got the ball across the line. So I'm gonna ride on that as well. But no, not a good Nick Sirianni day. But this game always screamed tough to me. And I think the worst possible thing that could happen to the Eagles was they got out to a big lead early and then kind of, you know, figured that this Jacksonville team was going to go away, and they didn't. And then helped by that phantom fumble call, we had a game all the way to the end. But, you know, there was quite a few good things in this game that I hope we talk about today. There were some good things in this game.
For sure. But I think the main story has to be Nick Sirianni in this one. This was a 2-score game. If you didn't have a coach that was making the same decisions as a 12-year-old playing Madden 25. There's a lot of head scratchers. Lead us off, Shane. Good and bad. What happened with Nick today?
I mean, it's the same thing that's been happening with Nick for a long time. You should be aggressive. Generally, being aggressive is the right call, but it all starts when you get the penalty on the extra point that puts you up 17 and you make the decision to then go for 2. And so the upshot is if you get it, you got an extra point. Now you're up 18 instead of 17, which means that 2 touchdowns and a field goal doesn't tie it. You would need 3 touchdowns. But the downside is if you don't get it, it's only 16 points. That's technically a 2-score game. And everybody says, well, that doesn't matter, whatever. Well, it turns out to matter when you give up a touchdown and you get, granted, the fumble is an egregious call. It's a terrible call. But all of a sudden, they're right back in this game, and you get down to, at the end of the game, you've also got turning down a field goal at the end of the third quarter that would have, again, made it a 2-score game. So you can go for it and run one of the stupidest play calls you've ever seen on 4th and inches, a sprint roll. Like, just egregious mismanagement of the game all the way around. I don't have a problem with going for that last 2-point conversion to go up 14, up 13 does nothing for you. That one makes sense. But so much of it, like he's just going to defend it saying we're aggressive. Yeah. That's true. You should be aggressive, but only when it makes sense. And the Eagles weren't that today. And it very well could have cost them this game. You're a Nakobe Dean getting his first career interception away from losing that football game, a game that shouldn't have even been close. And a lot of it, there's officiating things that go into it. You can't control that. So I don't love talking about that a lot. I understand it was part of it, but you control your coaching decisions, and they were horrific, and they almost cost the Eagles the game.
All Nick has to do is not be the center of the football game, and somehow he still manages to do it. And this was a fun halftime where we were celebrating and we were getting ready for an easy, comfy, cozy victory. But maybe the working theory is that Nick was using this game as like live practice and was going for it on 4th down to try and figure out what works for those 2-point conversions and use the tape to correct whatever doesn't. I don't know, but I was baffled. I am truly baffled. What about you, Rob? What's your take on Nick Sirianni?
Look, I hated the 4th down call. I don't know if I hated going for it. I just don't like the call whatsoever. I was not against the second 2-point, whatever 2-point conversion where he didn't take a point off the board. I was not against that because it was a personal foul. So it's, and look, that whether you like it or not, that tush push has been ridiculously effective. It was not today. Something is up. I don't know if there's a book out on it or what, so that they need to like readdress that. But yeah, no, there were some bad. I did not like kicking a 57-yard field goal late in the game. I thought that was a poor decision rather than punting and making Trevor Lawrence do something he hadn't done all day, which is go all the way down the field. You get bailed out. But I'm sorry. And look, I hate to be this guy and I hate to go after officials, but that is it. Listen to me. If that doesn't happen, the Eagles have 2nd and 5 and are gashing with the run game. Who's to say they don't score another touchdown there? And yeah, then we're sitting here now talking about, all right, Nick, you probably shouldn't have did this, but it's not even a close game. That call changed everything in that game. It changed the whole demeanor of the football game. And I look, I'm not defending Nick Sirianni. He coached a bad game today, but I'm not going to sit here and ignore the fact that call changed everything about the way that this game was going. I mean, it was ridiculous.
That would have been one of the more textbook Nick Sirianni games ever. Get an early lead, start playing cute, then the defense, Vic Fangio's defense goes bend don't break, like they just start giving up everything, and then you get stupid turnovers, lose all momentum, and lose. There was like Falcon vibes in that game. It was not enjoyable, and we have a comment here from Brian saying, "How does Jeffrey Lurie watch this incompetence?" That was part of like one of my favorite takes of this game was there was a clip of Jeffrey Lurie in the press box sitting with his arms crossed. He was pissed. And if there's anything that's going to make the Eagles move the needle, it's getting embarrassed. And I thought that was embarrassing. That was absolutely embarrassing from the Philadelphia Eagles, even though they moved to 6-2. Get some more comments, and then we'll get to any other Nick Sirianni comment. Yeah, what's up, Rob?
I know it's and Shane, you are the man. You are the genius that I go to. I understand Saquon thinking I have to go down, but there was 4 yards still left on that play that he goes down. I mean, right, like that's you got to have a better understanding in that situation, don't you? That play drove me a little, and I don't. Last thing I want to do is rip on Saquon because he was unbelievable, but that play was like bewildering to me.
Yeah, my initial thought, the announcer started talking about him like he should have stayed up. My first thought watching it was that he slipped when he landed from the hurdle. Okay. And I rewatched it when they were talking about it. And now I'm not so sure. If he did slide down there, that's just a really bad decision from him. Because he wasn't even close to going out of bounds. Like he had plenty of room to go. And so you don't want to do that. But, we've seen that. The 4th and inches that they end up not getting, he went out of bounds a yard short on first down, and you get 2nd and 1, 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, and you turn it over. And so I don't know. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but if it was intentional, I think it was a really bad decision.
Yeah. Steven says, even the risk reward situation, the 56-yard field goal versus the field goal they decided not to kick. Just those 2 situations alone would have gotten the head coach fired in the 20th century. To not use him at all the entire game and then rely on him, it's baffling.
For what it's worth, that one's pretty much a toss-up analytically. Like it's like a 0.5% edge to going for it in that situation. The only thing you can't do is punt it. Like you don't punt the ball there, in my opinion. I'm fine with you kicking it. Okay. He missed it. You got a good kicker. You expect him to make it. I would also be fine in that situation with going for it because it is such a long field goal. And if you get the first down, you ice the game. So that one's pretty well a toss up all the way around.
I want to ask this.
I kind of disagree with that.
I want to ask this question because I'm curious what other people's takes on it are. And let's just say I'm playing it as devil advocate here. Okay. Like I'm not saying this is my opinion. It's just devil advocate. You got a coach over in Detroit, and that Detroit game's very good, but he does the same damn thing. And people just want to talk about how he's big balls all the time. And it's great. It's just really aggressive coaching. I don't watch enough of them. I'm sure Shane Dives, I'm sure you guys have seen. Like, is it just because there's a time to be aggressive and there's a time not to, and the coach in Detroit does it at a better time than, say, Nick Sirianni? What's your take on that?
Dan Campbell's made some pretty stupid decisions too. Like earlier this year, he went on I think it was a fake punt on his own 35-yard line on the opening drive of the game. So he's definitely made some real knucklehead decisions too. Last year, going for 2 against the Cowboys after the penalty when they went for 2. So he definitely gets on tilt sometimes as well. And maybe that's the curse you have.
Is this the new age coach? Is this what these guys want to do? They want to try and be too smart for their own good? Because you said it best, Ives, and I saw somebody else. He's acting like he's playing Madden at times with some of these decisions, and that's where the frustration comes in.
The one that was 4th and 1, and Jalen Hurts scrambled and threw an incomplete pass. That was baffling. It looked like Jalen Hurts wanted nothing to do with that play.
That looked like they were scared to run the tush push because of what happened in the goal line. When that was 1.5 yards, and this was 3 or 4 inches. That was baffling to me, that play.
Yeah. I got nothing. I'm just baffled as everyone else. Eagles defense. Go ahead, Shane.
I was going to say further right. Rob, you said you would punt in that situation at the end of the game, I think, right?
Yeah, I think I would have.
That one's really close. Honestly, any of them are defensible analytically. It's like a 0.5% edge to going for it. And it's like a 2.5% swing negative to punt. So it's all really close. Yeah. You could make an argument for me personally, I'm fine going or kicking the field goal. I would not like the punt there. especially since you just gave up a 70-yard touchdown drive. But they're all defensible decisions, analytically speaking. It's kind of a do whatever you want to situation.
Yep. Anybody else have any Nick Sirianni takes before we get into Jalen Hurts?
Just that I would not fire him, like a lot of people are going to say. I think that's. I just think that's our emotions getting the best of us right now. They're 6-2. You're not firing your head coach at 6-2. I'm sorry whether you want him to be or not. He's not getting fired at 6-2.
Ryan says Hurts still passing those wide receiver screens. It's awful, scary when he does it. I do love him throwing right around 24 times per game. 20 to 24 throws is perfect, but him running 13 times isn't. Run him 5 to 7 times.
Those runs aren't designed. A lot of those runs are not designed. They're him making plays with it. That's what he's made to do. Like, you can't say if they had 13 design runs, you have a right to complain. But if he's breaking out of the pocket and making things happen, that's okay. I mean, that's what Jalen Hurts does.
Yep. Jalen Hurts, 18 of 24 passing, 230 yards, 2 touchdowns. He did take 3 sacks. There were times when he held the ball on for a little too long, for sure. 13 carries, 67 yards, a touchdown. Rob, lead us off. What did you think of Jalen Hurts today?
I thought Jalen played well. I liked how outside of those few plays where he held the ball a little too long, he was willing to go left or right out of the pocket. You know, he didn't just try and go to the right all the time. I thought he took off when he needed to. You know, look, he makes a huge play late in that game, getting down the sideline on a broken play. You know, I thought he made good decisions with the football. I thought he threw the ball well. I know, you know, I guess the one play, I don't know if the ball got tipped or that Andre Sisco almost intercepted. I do question these wide receiver screens, like, and I would have to go back, and I'm sure you guys will, if they're being called that way, or if he's going out there with 2 options and choosing to throw that ball. I just can't stand those plays. But overall, I mean, Jalen Hurts was a warrior today, and I thought he played very well. I'm totally fine with his game.
Yeah. What about you, Shane?
Yeah, I thought he played well. There's instances of him just making plays that not a lot of other quarterbacks would make. The scramble that he had on, I think it was a 3rd and 9, comes to mind, where you have a guy come free off the edge. Saquon does a great job coming over to like get hands on that guy and create a lane for Jalen, and he just scrambles for it. Some of those throws that he made to Devontae Smith were really good. Next Gen Stats just tweeted out that Hurts finished the game with a 11.1% completion percentage over expectation, joining Jared Goff as the only quarterback to have 4 games with a completion percentage over expectation of plus 10% or higher this season. And so, I mean, I thought he played really well. There was a couple close calls with interceptions, that first play of the game, and then later on that kind of sailed and hit the ground. You know, people want him to throw over the middle more, and that is the problem when you throw over the middle, is if it's just a little high, it's right there for a safety. And so they were fortunate on a couple of those, I thought, but overall I thought Hurts played really well.
Yeah, me too.
I think there's a lot to be said about, you know, interceptions are going to happen in the conflict, you know, as a game goes on, especially if he is throwing the ball over middle. And like you said, Shane, that's going to happen. I mean, yeah, that ball that's out on, not a good throw, but like, I'm all about clean games, but let's not act like he's never going to throw an interception again. Like, if he's getting the ball over the middle, there's going to be an interception. You just got to hope they're not at times that are crushers to your offense.
Yeah, I'm pulling up the Devontae Smith touchdown, which might go down as one of the greatest catches of the season.
Plays in this game that were just absolutely unbelievable plays from the Eagles that could all go on a list.
I don't even think the Devontae Smith touchdown is the best catch in this game. That Jahan Dotson catch
that was
down
unreal.
The sideline was like, and that wasn't even a good throw. Like the Devontae Smith one is like my guy or nobody is on that one.
Yeah.
The Jahan Dotson one was just, I mean, you threw it up and yeah, you got the guy with his back and you underthrow. That was all Jahan Dotson. That was an incredible catch.
Unbelievable.
I tweeted out when that one happened, welcome to the trust tree, Jahan Dotson.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, just take his over in yards and catches next week because he's going to go to him now after that.
Yeah, but yeah, the Devontae Smith catch, that was just a Devontae Smith drive. I mean, you get the conversion from empty on, I think it was like 3rd and 6. You get, I think it was it might have been the very next play. You get the play action bomb to Devontae Smith, and then you get down in the red zone and penalties strike again, and penalties were a big deal in this game. The Eagles, it felt like continually were putting themselves behind the sticks with, dumb mistakes. And then you get the 3rd and 22, Devontae Smith catches that one in the back of the end zone. It made me, I thought about, you run that little screen for an Anais Smith on 2nd and 22. It's almost like Devontae Smith was like, no, it was supposed to be me. They just said Smith and they threw it to the wrong guy. And Devontae was ready to make him pay on 3rd down.
Here's the Jahan Dotson catch. Oh my God.
It's unreal.
I was shocked he came up with that. Like when he caught that, like I still didn't believe it. Like a good 5 or 10 seconds after the fact.
Between those two plays, the Saquon acrobatics, and then honestly the Nakobe Dean interception, which I thought was tremendous, not just because of where it was in the game, but this is not what this guy does. He made a great catch on the ball. They were just 4 really, really fun and good plays in this game for the Eagles.
Yeah, it was great. Hurts 50-50 balls are 80-20 with AJ and Devontae. Cameron says totally fine with Hurts protecting the ball and taking the sack first drive, second quarter. Take the field goal up 10-0. We got Eagles, Eric. What's going on? CPOE rewards people with great ball placement and receivers who can sky up for the ball. Doesn't understand flow. Let's just roll on. How would you grade Jalen Hurts today, Shane?
I would give him I'd probably give him like a B+, A-. I thought it was a good game. There was a couple times the ball kind of got in harm's way. I'll have to rewatch. I don't think they were necessarily like terrible. It just, there's a couple dicey plays that were close, but overall I thought he played really well. Made some big throws down the stretch and, helped overcome some coaching inadequacies in this one. What
about you, Ryan or Rob?
Yeah, I think A- is a fair grade. I think there were a few plays, but overall, I mean, he did everything you would, you ask of him to do. You just popped up Ryan's question there. I don't even know if it's selfishness as much as panic, right? Like sometimes I feel like Nick Sirianni makes a decision early, and if it doesn't work, he then spends the rest of the game trying to make up for that decision, and it comes off with these really bad decisions. Like, I think he has a lack of self-confidence that he feels the need that if he makes a mistake that people are going to talk about, he then overcompensates for it and tries to continue, and it ends up making more and more mistakes. Like, I don't think it's a selfish thing. I think it's honestly just overcompensating, trying to make up for an earlier mistake.
Yep. All right. Freddy Clip says Hurts' completion percentage is going up. Dean for the parking space. That was hilarious.
Yeah.
That was a funny story. I also love Shady McCoy, saying how the Eagles have been around for centuries during the halftime show. That was amazing. Okay, I need someone to clip that and find that because that was just an epic.
He is a different breed of man. The best was how he ends the interview after Saquon has a big run. He's like, Saquon's got me going nuts, and he runs away from the microphone.
God damn it. I love Shady. That was so funny. All right, let's get to Saquon Barkley, 27 carries, 159 yards. A touchdown. He also had 3 receptions, 40 yards, and a touchdown. Just a monster game from Saquon. Shane, lead us off on Saquon.
Saquon's such a good runner. What is that spin move into a backwards hurdle over a guy? That was one of the most insane things. That's one of the most insane moves I've ever seen somebody pull off. He's a game changer, and, he makes impact on plays that everybody sees the spin move. Everybody sees, the hurdle. He makes plays in pass protection that people don't see. But again, I love Saquon. I want to preface this by saying I love Saquon. I think he should be an MVP candidate. If we accept the premise that he was trying to give himself up to stay in bounds at the end of the game, it's like the third game that he's put the Eagles in a bad situation with knowledge of the sticks and game management. So there's some concerns there, but man, he's such a fun player to watch. And I don't want to take anything away from that. So the Eagles would not be where they are without him. It just feels like, man, it's like every other week, there's just this one mistake that shouldn't be that big of a deal, but it is because the Eagles end up putting themselves in these situations for it to matter. So Saquon played an incredible game. I would love for somebody to ask him about going down on that one if he slipped or went down on purpose. I'd love to know.
By the way, if you go to the main NFL Twitter page, this is their now cover photo with Saquon, the reverse hurdle. Go check that out. It's really funny. Travis says, is Saquon McCaffrey good? Saquon had 2 more stop shorts on potential first runs.
Well, in the couple of them, this goes back to they look like he gets the first down, but he's getting marked short constantly. So obviously he's doing something wrong because he'll run for 9.5 yards. He does it all the time. And it's almost like he thinks he's getting the first down, but he's not. Like, I'm not, once again, Shane said it. This guy's so much fun to watch. He is such a game changer for this team. But those things are like, oh my God, like just don't do that. Like just go. Even if you go out of bounds, if you get the first down, they still will have to use their timeout and 2-point conversion, and you still get to run a play on third down with nothing stopping the clock. Like, just go get the first down.
Yeah. Daru Jones says, best running back in the game, period. Sucks the coach is incompetent to put your players in that position. That my take on Saquon is he shouldn't have been out there. Like, he is clearly getting banged up. And, like, if the Eagles had gotten the points as they should have, like, this game never should have been that close to begin with. So, like, he looked hurt. And I'm very curious to see where he's at going forward. Eagles Eric says Saquon is not smart. I thought Saquon took a very painful on the reverse hurdle.
He did. He got up and didn't come back in for 3 or 4 plays.
Yeah, he was stretching out his knees too. Like, he looked like, Cameron says Saquon will show up on the injury report. He tweaked something. I agree. So he did not look good in that second half. And we were all hoping for like a Will Shipley type of second half. It never happened.
Are we concerned about this A.J. Brown injury?
Yes.
I mean, like, it seemed like it was just like, oh, by the way, it's a knee injury. You're like, what the hell?
Yeah, because he got, if I recall correctly, he took a big shot right before half, but it was to like the head, right? It was right at the 2-minute warning, and he got hit while he was spinning in the head. And I didn't see, like, I remember thinking, like, oh, that could be a thing, but it didn't look like it was anything lower body related. And then he came out of the locker room and then went back into the locker room before stepping on the field. Like, I can show the play here that he took the hit on in just a second. And it just there didn't look to be anything knee wise that was going on. And so here it is. I mean, he's spinning. He gets hit in the head from behind. And maybe he grasped at his lower body while he's. I
thought he went to his back because I thought the hit came straight to his back, but no, it looks like his head.
Yeah, so I don't know on that. I fully expected him to not come back. I thought it would be concussion related, and then when they said he was out with a knee, I don't really know. So that's the burning question that I want to know about as soon as possible.
Yep. Let's go to receivers. Devontae Smith, 4 receptions, 87 yards, and a touchdown, which was
fourth quarter,
which was hilarious because he was barely even in the offensive game plan the first half. Rob, what did you think of Devontae?
I think he's a closer. He's a guy that you go to late in games. He makes big catches. Even before the touchdown, he makes a big catch on the deep crossing route. To gain him like 45 yards or whatever it was. The guy is he's a closer. He may be invisible during portions of a game, but at the end of the day, when you need a catch, when you need somebody reliable, you're going to look at old number 6, and he makes things happen. So, I mean, the stat line may not read great. That a lot of people may not look at that and say that's great, but hell, they were 2 or 3 of those catches were huge catches in this game for the Eagles.
Yeah. The one I think was like a third down where he really had to adjust to the ball and got the first down. I forget I think it was a slant or something along those lines. Ben Van Sumeren got his first touch.
And then got a concussion.
And was gone for the game. I was actually upset about that. Grant Calcaterra continues to play really well. He did have all of that production in the first half, didn't do anything in the second. Jahan Dotson, as we talked about already, the acrobatic catch. Shane, any thoughts on the receiving group?
Yeah, I would like to see the Eagles get Devontae more involved early in the games. Like, 2 weeks ago, he has one reception the entire game for -2 yards. This game, I don't think he had a target at halftime, did he? Or maybe it was 1 for 9 yards. I know his first catch was 9 yards, but he's such a good receiver. Like, I would just like to see them get him more involved early. But I mean, he was incredible at the end of the game, helping close that out. We talked about the Jahan Dotson catch. Overall, you like what you saw from the offense in this game, minus the penalties. And there was a lot of things they did that didn't work, but that I was still glad that they did. They come out the first play of the game with Ben Van Sumeren on the field in I formation and run play action.
Yes.
They threw Ben Van Sumeren a pass off of play action out of I formation. They did the jet sweep play that I talked about last week on my on the Shane page, that they were setting that up. Like, even though none of those plays really worked, it is the counter that you have to make teams think about. And I think they can get those to work. It just didn't today. And so I liked a lot from the offensive approach. I thought they moved the ball well. Other than the penalties, I really don't have many complaints on the offensive side of the ball.
Same. I you said, they felt like 28 points doesn't feel right. Like, I feel like they were moving the ball up and down the field. William chimes in, tight end is an underrated need for this team. Absolutely. Not going to show that comment. The trust Alcantara's game from Hurts is going to pay dividends. Nick will be fine. Where was that Anais Smith target? I don't remember that at all.
It was the 2nd and 22 play before the 3rd and 22 to Devontae. Or maybe it was 2nd and 20 and it lost 2 yards. I think.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. It was right after the holding penalty pushed them back, and then it was right before the Devontae touchdown. And they tried to reverse to him at one point too, didn't they?
Yeah, the jet sweep was also to Anais Smith.
Yeah.
How was the O-line? Not great. I thought they would have played better, and I gave credit to the Jaguars on the halftime show. I thought they were playing really well. Overall, the defensive line and mostly the secondary, and the secondary gave up 55 explosive plays heading into this game against the Eagles, and they held their own until late in this game. Shane, any thoughts on the offensive line or anything else?
Yeah, I called out on the halftime show that Fred Johnson just alternates good games and bad games. Thought he played better in the second half. Overall, I thought the O-line played well in the second half. I thought there were some issues in the first half, particularly from Fred Johnson and Mekhi Becton. But, overall, I thought they cleaned it up and played pretty well in the second half, other than penalties, which we mentioned before. But there were too many penalties in this game, and a lot of those were on offensive linemen.
Yep. Yes. Nick Sirianni cost you 9 points. The phantom fumble, we didn't even talk about that. I don't know.
I talked about it. Damn it.
Yeah, I don't know what even to say about that. I don't even.
I mean, listen, when even the what was it, Gene Steratore gets on and is just perplexed at the call. Like, that's his brethren out there, right? Like, they don't really try and insult the officials too much. He had no explanation for it. He had zero explanation for it. I mean, it was just brutal. I mean, I'm telling you, I don't understand how they do that.
There needs to be an investigation.
Unless you're trying to keep the game close. And I'm sorry, but I'm going to say it. Unless you're trying to keep the game close, that is ridiculous.
Yep. Okay. Any other comments on the offense before we head to the defense? Going once, going twice. Let's roll on to the Philadelphia Eagles defense. I mean, obviously we got to start with Nakobe Dean, who had to play the game. And it never should have been this close, but Nakobe Dean, wow. Most notably looked amazing coverage. I know he had the interception, but in the first half, he also had a nice play in coverage as well. Lead us off, Shane. How has Nakobe Dean taken that next step?
Yeah, it was both of the Eagles get 2 interceptions in this game, one from Nakobe Dean and one from Zach Bond. Like,
insane.
imagine me telling you before this season started that the Eagles would win a game where one of their linebackers got an interception early in the game and the other one got a game sealing interception in the end zone. It's just crazy. Like, these guys have played pretty well for the whole season. And Nakobe Dean has been more up and down than Zach Bond, particularly in coverage. It's still not his strong suit, but I do think you're seeing growth from him in coverage. The interception that Zach Bond had, Nakobe Dean made the hit. Now, the ball was already coming out before he made the hit, but he was at the catch point to contact that. Had it been a clean catch, he would have made that a hard catch. And there's a couple other plays that I thought he was, good in coverage. And you have Zach Bond early in the game off of that play fake, sinking under that corner route. And that was a really athletic play. And, you get a tackle for loss from Zach Bond. And then you start getting into your edge rushers. Josh Sweat had a good game, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss. And I didn't really notice anybody else tremendously on the pass rush. I noticed a few good reps from Milton Williams as a pass rusher, but the defensive front played really well early in this game, and it made you nervous late. They gave up 2 touchdown drives, and then you're, down in your own red zone with about to maybe lose the game, and you come up with another big play. But, really impressed by the defense. You would feel better if they didn't give up those 2 touchdown drives, but at the end of the day, it's another good performance you'll take. I mean, Trevor Lawrence is a good quarterback, and he's prone to making some mistakes, but he's a good quarterback. And so they were always going to get something. I thought the defense did a pretty good job all day.
I love this right here. The Eagles have linebackers. And I love the fact that after the biggest play of the game, Zach Bond is the first one there to kind of embrace him. It's terrific. That is poetic.
Nakobe Dean, by the way, went to the podium still holding the football from the interception. I saw that on Twitter. He held the football at the podium.
Brett Eclipse says, I owe Nakobe Dean huge apologies. I'm right there with you, man.
I'll tell you who a lot of our fan base owes an apology to. Is Darius Slay. Watching Isaiah Rodgers,
Amen.
Watching Isaiah Rodgers should show you how underappreciated Darius Slay is. And I said that on Twitter, and some people were like, he hasn't been that bad. It's like, I'm not saying he's been that bad, but like he was adequate. But the gap between him and what Slay's been putting out there is pretty big. The Eagles need Darius Slay back healthy. Like Slay,
yes.
Quinyon, and Cooper DeJean is a great trio for your cornerbacks. That's the 3 you want out there. Like Isaiah Rodgers can step in. Keely Ringo can step in, but you want Darius Slay out there starting. I thought that was pretty obvious watching Isaiah Rodgers in this game.
Rob, any thoughts on the linebackers, Nakobe Dean or Zach Bond?
I mean, what can you say? I mean, they just keep showing up. Zach Bond was all over the field today. His pick was extremely athletic, but I mean, there were a lot of other plays he made in this game, coming up, making tackles, all kinds of stuff like that. One other guy, though, I want to talk about on defense. And I think I texted you, Dibes, in the middle of the game and told you that a jersey is on its way. It has to be. And that's Cooper DeJean, who just continues to make big plays and big moments of the game. I think of Cooper DeJean on the 4th down play. I mean, he was all over it. And even on plays that he's missing, he's just missing. Like, I absolutely love everything about that kid, and I love everything about the youth on this defense. But, Nakobe Dean, I felt like a proud father when he made the interception in the end zone, boys. That's a guy I've been pulling for the last 3 years. It was so nice to see him get that pick and clinch that game. I'm very happy he got it done.
Did anybody else think it was Quinyon Mitchell?
I saw the 7.
Did anybody else? I saw it was on his side. It was on his side, and I saw the 7, and I was ready to just go.
Well, to be honest, I thought that until he caught it, and then I was like, that can't be Quinyon.
Oh, that's so funny.
I saw the 7, and then when he caught it, my brain went, yes, the more logical explanation is that was Nakobe Dean.
Shane, you're terrible.
Hey, I love Quinyon Mitchell. Don't anybody be clipping that and being like, I'm a Quinyon Mitchell was my CB1. I love the kid. I just No, he can't catch. He plays
That's so
defense
funny.
for a reason.
Oh, Cooper, man, he's got some swag, man.
Yes.
Man, that's awesome. Brady Clip says, I said that, Dives. I have a Dean jersey, baby. I thought I wasted money for a while. I'm feeling better now. Who needs Andrew Van Ginkel when you have Zach Bond? How many snaps has Zach Bond even played on the defensive line? Like I feel like I go back to David's comments about Zach Bond every now and then, because Zach Bond is arguably the MVP of the defense, and he called it. He freaking called it, and he has been outstanding all season long. It's been amazing. And I mean, Andrew Van Ginkel, you know him more than I do, Shane, but he's more of a pass rusher, right? Like,
Yeah,
Zach
he's rushing a
Bond,
lot more.
he's dropping back in coverage and looking outstanding.
Yeah.
All right. Josh Sweat. Let's talk about Josh Sweat. Josh Sweat in this one had 5 tackles, tied for second most on the team. He had 2 sacks and 2 tackles for loss. He's finally starting to get going. Really good there. I think he went up against Walker Little, replacing someone there for the Jaguars. It's escaping me. But Josh Sweat had another big game. I thought Jalen Carter had a very, very solid game in general. The Jacksonville Jaguars had 60 yards on the ground in this one on 18 carries. For the most part, the Jaguars really wanted to run the ball and had nothing. Sweat being 9th all time blew my mind. What is that? Is that 9th all time in sacks? I don't know.
I don't know. You have to leave us another comment and let us know what that is.
Yeah, if that's wow. Wow.
Zach Bond, yes, all pro. I mean, he's what, like 9th in total tackles? Putting up crazy numbers. There's a lot of talk about extending his contract right now. If I was Zach Bond, I would wait. He's going to get a huge payday coming up in a few months.
I just looked up that stat. Josh Sweat did indeed move to 9th all time among Eagles for sacks. He passed Seth Joyner. He has 38 sacks, which is 9th all time among Eagles.
Wow.
That's insane.
Wow.
I thought C.J. Gardner-Johnson had some really bad moments in this one.
Yeah.
I thought for the most part, like especially in the second half, the ball from Trevor Lawrence was either going towards C.J. Gardner-Johnson or Avonte Maddox as they should. And I just continue to think CJ.
There's nobody else they could put on the field other than Devontae. There's no one else. There's got to be.
I have a question. In a man coverage rep, has Chauncey Gardner-Johnson been in the same zip code as the guy that he's covering on a single play this season? Like, it's Sidney Brown time. It's time to put Sidney Brown out on the field, because Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is bringing you nothing right now except swag, and Sidney Brown will do that too. Like, Sidney Brown will miss tackles. Sidney Brown will mess up coverage reps too. He's a second-year player. But Chauncey Gardner-Johnson's a vet, and he's giving the Eagles very little right now.
Mm-hmm.
He'll make a flashy tackle here or there. He got the interception last week that Isaiah Rodgers deflected to him. Like, he will make some plays. I'm not saying that he won't, but he's been really bad in coverage this year, and he's struggled as a tackler, and he has to be better. Like, he should be better than he's been this year. So I don't know what needs to happen for him to turn that corner, but this is not the Chauncey Gardner-Johnson that played for the Eagles 2 years ago. And that's a Chauncey Gardner-Johnson I wasn't remarkably high on 2 years ago, but he's been immeasurably worse this year. And I don't know if it's the injury last season that has messed him up. I don't know what the deal is, but Chauncey Gardner-Johnson's really struggled this season.
Yeah. Yep. Ruben says Sidney Brown time. CJ Gardner-Johnson is a glorified cheerleader. He reminds me of like a Jalen Mills, like talks so much trash, but what does he really do?
I loved him jumping up and signaling incomplete on that one ball that was thrown up the seam that was overthrown by like 15 yards. Granted, he had decent coverage on that one, but still.
Buda Baker as a trade target, maybe.
I doubt it. I don't think they're doing anything big, honestly.
CJ Gardner-Johnson can play short yardage, but you're not taking Cooper DeJean out of the nickel or the slot. Like, he's been so sticky. Like, there's zero chance that happens. Came back from the knee injury a little early. It's officially Dallas week. Dallas just lost to the Falcons, I believe.
Didn't just lose. You think that we're frustrated about our fourth down decisions? There were 4 fourth down decisions in that game that just were horrific, including a fake punt where Mike McCarthy broke a tablet because the punter shockingly underthrew the receiver. What are you doing? Oh God.
Are the Eagles about to trade Bryce Huff?
It feels like it.
Bryce Huff played 6 snaps today.
Is that all he got? He almost had a sack.
Snaps.
He almost had a sack.
Yeah.
On the stunt, and he fell before he could get to Trevor Lawrence.
What's the deal with that?
I don't know. He wasn't on an injury report that I saw. I'll have to look that up as well. But I mean, you're sitting here right before the trade deadline, and you got a guy that's been playing all of a sudden not play. That smells fishy. He was not listed on an injury report at all. So. Oh, we got a comment here that says Nick said he hurt his hand in warm up. So there you go. Maybe that's it. Obviously, hopping on the post game afterwards, I'm not able to listen into that stuff. So maybe he just hurt his hand in pregame, and that's what was going on. But I definitely noticed that he was not on the field very much.
Yeah.
All I read on this comment was turned down for what? For some reason. 7th rounder. I mean, it sucks too because what you're paying for Bryce Huff, you could have probably got 2 quality players with that contract.
Yeah.
Who's going to take Huff's contract? We would have to send picks to take his cap hit.
That's a whole non-thing. If the reason he didn't play was because he got hurt in warm-ups, then that's a whole non-issue. I just raised it because I knew I didn't see him much. And with the trade deadline being Tuesday, that's what was immediately popping into my head.
All right.
So forget I said that. We'll edit that out of the podcast, except I'll forget.
All right. Let's get to player of the game. Lead us off, Rob. Who you going with player of the game?
I'm going to go with the guy I picked before the game when I sent you my picks, and that's Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley, 2 touchdowns, 159 rushing yards. The guy, I understand that play pisses me off, but he is a guy that just changes the game. And I mean, he just does things on the football field. Like I think we say it every week. The Giants have to be kicking themselves right now. Like, not good enough? Like, are you serious? He wasn't good enough for you to pay? He was the face of your franchise. You let him out the door. And every week he was big. And I think he was, they used him a lot today. His usage was a lot today, but he made good use of almost every play except for like one that I wasn't very happy about. But outside of that, I'm going to go with Saquon.
Saquon for Rob. What about you, Shane?
I'm going to give it to Nakobe Dean because I fully expect at the point he made that interception, I was almost ready to say on the play before that you're in like let him score territory here. And I didn't have a lot of confidence at that point. So Nakobe Dean makes a good play on the ball there. I'll give it to him. He had no help on that play. He's one-on-one with the running back, ends up coming away with the game-sealing pick.
That's a really good one. I got to go Jalen Hurts. Give me Jalen Hurts. Last 4 games, over 1,000 yards, 12 touchdowns, 0 turnovers. On the per PFF on 10-plus yards throws during this 4-game win streak, 20 of 29, 500 yards, 5 touchdowns, 0 picks. Man, not the best offensive show. Yeah, the offense, I thought, moved the ball, but I still want to see more mesh, more crossers, more short passes in general. But how do you not give it to Jalen Hurts, man? He's been absolutely making major strides the last several weeks, whether that's under center, pistol, play action, using the middle of the field. It's been amazing. So give me Jalen Hurts. Let's get to our Eagles game in 3 words or less. Shane, do you have that stinger?
No, but I have it on my phone because I tweeted out, but I have it here. I've got it pulled up on the computer. We'll get that loaded into StreamYard so we can play it. But each and every week we send out our Eagles in 3 words or less on Twitter. So you guys head over to Eagles Pin Pull on Twitter after the game. Drop your 3 words. You can drop them in the chat here as well. And we'll put some of our favorites on the show. So we've got Johnny Page chiming in with QB counter bash. And Jalen Hurts ran that for a big gain in this game. David, I promise I'm not just taking guys from the network here, but David says, remember Jake Elliott? ? Nathaniel gave us a closer than necessary. Ancestor 25 said so unnecessarily stressful. Eagles AI Art said blood pressure high. Greg said fire the coach. We've got a take your points from Dan. We've got a Saquon not human from Max. X Sparrow gave us a it's never easy. We've got a how's AJ doing from Hop the Third, which is a huge question that hopefully we'll get answers on soon. We've got from down 3R20 the reverse hurdle and all caps. Samantha says heart attack city, and Max said Smitty not human. So there's some of the 3 words from Twitter. And again, you guys can go head over to Twitter after every game. You can drop those. We've got some rolling in the chat here. Q gave us a Nick is fine for 3 words.
What?
A little zipper emoji. So
I'm with you, Q.
there's some good stuff there. Beretta Clip says Dotson did something. We've got a talent elevates coaching coming in from John. We've got a back to normal. Eagles linebacker U from Travis. So lots of good 3 words there. Man, I'm trying to think of incompetent coaching decisions is got to be mine. That game should have never been that close. Shouldn't have been close. Nick needs to call 1-800-GAMBLER and get some help.
I had a comment on Twitter saying that they should all take Nick to Las Vegas and just bet on everything he's not betting on. Because it's it's truly impressive how you can get so many things wrong.
This is a great one. Brett Eclipse says BGN said the last time the Eagles had 2 linebackers with an interception in the same game was 371 BC.
Was that from LaShawn McCoy? Is that LaShawn McCoy's stat?
Maybe.
Since it's been centuries that the Eagles have been around.
Yeah.
I'll go. Give me Cooper the Executioner. The Jaguars were 4 for 12 on 3rd and 4th down today. That has been the Achilles heel of the Eagles in recent years, getting off the field on defense. Give me Cooper the Executioner, who seems to be it seems to be a pattern now that he's involved in some big moments, some big plays on 3rd and 4th down, making tackles for losses, you name it, sticky coverage. Just been so impressed with Coop over and over again. I'm still waiting for defenses or offenses to stop throwing his way, but until then, Cooper DeJean has been so impactful in big moments. Wow.
I was going to go with effing Dallas week, but then I remembered, no, I'm going to continue on my pedestal here and say, investigate NFL officials, because there was some shady shit going on. I'm sorry. There was some shady stuff going on in that game today, and I am not happy about it at all, as I believe that is where the game really changed. So I'm going to say investigate NFL officials.
We have Phil saying, finish the sentence. Nick Sirianni is. Anybody want to play?
I do not want to play.
I'll say lucky. Very, very lucky. For whatever reason, the players love him. for everything I can think of, just let him be the mascot. Don't let him be the coach, because it's going to hurt the Eagles at some point down the road. Saquon was down. We have Shane is scared to play.
I'm afraid of what I might say.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I'm still angry.
Yeah. All right, let's wrap this up. Rob, final thoughts on this one. Plugs, time is yours.
Yeah, the Eagles got a win in a game that was a trap game. It wasn't pretty. It was pretty early. Some questionable decisions, some questionable officiating, but at the end of the day, the Eagles did get a win. They sit at 6-2 on the season, and it's Dallas week. And look, I know everyone's going to say, well, Dallas sucks anyway. They're terrible. Eagles, I can't tell you the last time they won down there. I feel like Carson Wentz was still the quarterback, and it was when Dallas was really – I mean, it's been a while, I feel like, since they've won in Dallas. And maybe I'm wrong about that. I just feel like they've struggled mightily down there in Dallas. And, get down there and do what you're supposed to do, and that's beat an inferior team and be 7-2. So I'm looking forward to that. Catch me Twitter, Philly_Madness. Catch me on Party on Broad Monday nights. By the way, Ryan, if you're watching, trying to take a shot at my fantasy team, I just beat the hell out of Dibes today. I just want to make that very clear. Dibes was smashed. I mean, smashed in fantasy today. So you could keep coming at the champ all you want, brother. Okay, you beat me by like 3 points last week. So that's all I got.
Speaking of the Dallas Cowboys, Kirk Cousins, 19 of 24, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, no turnover-worthy plays. The Cowboys are now on a 3-game losing streak, all of those coming at home. And when's the last time the Eagles won in Dallas? Does anybody know off the top of their head?
2017.
Is that what it is?
It was a Super Bowl season. They went in there and trounced them. It was a night game. It was a primetime game, I remember.
Wow. Yeah, November of 2017.
All right. Shane, final thoughts on this one, plugs.
Yeah, man, the biggest thing right now is going to be the injuries. AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Saquon Barkley. You're going into a game against Dallas on the road. It doesn't matter that they're not very good because they're a rival that's always going to play you tough. And then more importantly, even than that game, is you come right off of that into a Thursday game against Washington. The Eagles have an incredibly important part of the schedule coming up at Dallas versus Washington on a short week, and then at Los Angeles Rams at Baltimore. And so there are 4 vital games coming up, 3 of them on the road. The lone home game is off of the short week. And so you need the Eagles to be healthy. You need Jordan Mailata back. You really need Saquon to be healthy because Dallas can't stop the run at all. And you need Jalen Hurts to continue to play good football. He has 1 turnover-worthy play in the last 4 weeks since the bye. He had, what was it? 7, 8, 9. 10. He had 11 turnover-worthy plays in the first 4 games. He has 1 in the last 4 games. So you need him to continue to play well. Let's go railroad Dallas, and we'll stop thinking about this game. Go put 50 on Dallas and feel really good going into that Thursday night game against Washington.
Wow. I am reading, again, I'm playing catch up, that Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb got injured today. Did you see that?
Yeah, CeeDee Lamb came back into the game. Dak Prescott didn't. Prescott's was a hamstring. I'm not sure. I don't remember what Lamb's was.
They said hamstring and hand on Prescott. CeeDee Lamb came back in, but then he got hurt late in the game again. It was his shoulder. He went down on his shoulder. So he looked to be in some pain, but things are just falling apart down there. But like Shane said, this is a rival, and the games are typically pretty close. So Eagles have to go down there. They have to not look ahead to Washington in any way, shape, or form, which I don't believe they will. And they got to play a really good football game and then get ready 4 nights later to play Washington.
Yeah. All right, guys, we are wrapping it up. One last time, go give Shane a follow on X at ShaneHalfNFL. Go check out Chalk Talk on the Shane page. All the amazing all 22 content he does. There he is at ShaneHalfNFL. Rob Lange, my man at Philly_Madness. And I am Dives, Mr. Crockpot. Thank you everyone for watching. Birds of the Round Table will be Tuesday night, right, Shane? I think we're good Tuesday.
We'll talk.
Oh, no. maybe Tuesday. Keep an eye out for that. So thank you everyone for watching. He is Shane. He is Rob. I am Dives. Stay awesome, everyone.